Today I'll be changing out my fuel lines on the TBSS Intake. As you can see right here, this is from the 07 and up body style. The fuel lines that I'm using right now are aftermarket. With the intake swap, I had to swap them out. So one of them started leaking back here, and that's why I'll be replacing them today. Since I'm doing the job by myself, all I did was remove the bolts from the bed on this side, which was like 3 or 4. And then I just loosened up all that side, and it's just tilted, so you can kind of see it right here. So that just gave me enough space to work under there, and I just added like wood and stuff like that because, you know, that's what I have and I'm working by myself. But overall it worked out. So I just added different materials down here. I have like some dumbbells, wood, you know, I just want to make sure it's not gonna fall since, you know, it's not the correct way to do it, but that's just how I'm gonna do it right here.
This is how we do it!
From the passenger side, you can kind of see that the bed is just tilted a little bit. It's not that much, just enough to get my hands down there and swap out the lines. To remove the bed bolts, it was pretty simple. So you can kind of see that one goes here up to there, and then there was another bolt in this area from here to there. I just have these spacers all up in there because I don't want it to fall down. And then right over here there was another bolt, so it comes right from the bottom, and then on that side as well. So on my truck I had 4 bolts, but some of you guys may have a little bit more, maybe like 5. And mine does look a little bit different because I have an under bed notch that got welded in here, and I also do have my back setup. And these are the bolts right here. They were 18 millimeters, and I'll show you on the passenger side how they look all loosened up. So I have one right there. You can kind of see that it still has that rubber on there, and the bolt is from the bottom, but you can't really tell too much. On this side it's a little bit better. So the bed is still resting on that rubber right there that I added, which is not original, and the bolt is just loosened up. And here's the front one. So it's sitting on the rubber, but you can see the bolt head is, you know, out of place because it's loosened up. Alright guys, so these are my old lines that I took out from the Silverado on the bottom, so the return and feed. So this is the style that I added on the fuel pump side, and then on this other side to the fuel filter, I had to push to connect, so the plastics are still over there on the filter, and they kind of look like this right here on the new ones. So they just lock in place with this little plastic, which is what I'm going to be using on the new one as well, just like that. So it's just 2 different sizes, a 5/16 and then also a 3/8. So on the left side I have the 3/8, and on the right side is a 5/16. It's a little bit smaller. They look pretty similar, but they're different size. And I'll just be doing push to connect on all of them. So pretty much on all ends it'll have this instead of this style, because it was harder to take this one off for me without the bed being removed. You know, it'll just clip just like that, and then it's easy to maintenance it instead of doing 2 wrenches on there, even though I do like this style right here. And I also did go ahead and order a new set right here with the AN hose and new fittings, but they came kind of late, so I'm just gonna use the old ones that I had right here because they're still pretty good, and then I might just end up using these on the Tahoe or something later on. And if you're trying to save some money, I would order something like this because they come together, and then you save a lot on the fittings themselves versus, you know, purchasing these colored ones separately, even though that these don't come in the pack. So you will still have to purchase these separate push to connect fittings, these black ones, and then the colored ones, they come all in here, but they're all going to be black, so they have different angles. Just straight ones, so it's like 4 straight ones, and then like a 90. So it's like a whole bunch of fittings, so these are real good. So this is 6 AN hose, 20 feet. All right, so these are the hose cutters right here, and you can kind of see their logo right there, says Vibrant. And I'll also have these linked down below in the description if you wanted to check them out right there. And they do open pretty wide, so you can, you know, fit a big wire right there or hose. On the braided steel line, I do like the way that it cuts better with the tape because it keeps the strands more together versus, you know, no tape. It kind of opens them up right there. So I would still put tape on here, but it does cut them real good. So if you're doing something like this, just make sure that the hose is all the way to the top, and you can see the threads real close to the hose right there. And before threading this part in, I do like to put a little bit of painter's tape right here, something like this, so that way I know that this piece is not moving out of place, and it's still going to be, you know, pretty flush right there, since I am going to be using some of these right here that are not like the correct tool for it. And I'll start it off by hand right here. Just so I can get it in as much as I can, and then I can do the rest with the wrenches. And you'll feel it kind of getting kind of tight. There, so I got most of it in right there, and then the rest I'll just finish off with the wrenches. And you can kind of see it didn't really move that much, so that's pretty good. You don't want to see a lot of black in this area because then this is pretty much, you know, popping out this way. That looks pretty good. Let me see how it looks. so it's pretty close. I might just go a little bit just to keep it flat, but overall, as you can see, it didn't really move, so that's good right there. You don't want it, like I said, to move right there. So now it's all flush. And you guys let me know what you think down below in the comments on this. So it's not too bad, and even though I don't have the correct tools to like hold it in place, and it does scratch them up a little bit, but I don't really mind because I won't be seeing this. And if you really want to, you can add some tape on here. And these two hoses, the feed and return line, I'm cutting at 50 inches. So from right here and here is where I measured. So this one's already 50 inches, and then right here I just put some tape, so I'm about to cut it right now. So I'll be cutting it somewhere in here, and that way it'll be 50 inches, and it doesn't have to be like perfect, but you know, that's just my number right there. I just gotta make sure I line them up straight. All right. Another clean cut right there, and you don't really need the tape, but I do like having it because it keeps the hair more in place. And I can do the other end, and this one is my 5/16 right here. That one looks good, and this one didn't get scratched up that much, but like I said, you could just put tape if you really want to make sure you get no scratches, or there is a different type of tool you can use also. All right guys, so now the two back ones are done for the return and feed, and I still have a lot of line left over right here, so I'll be using this one to do the front one. And what I'll just do right now is install these back ones first. So I'll do my feed line first, the 3/8 line, which is going to be on the left side. And these push to connects are pretty simple because they just lock in with this plastic. And the 5/16s. So right there, I just gotta push it in. It's kind of hard to get the camera back here. Here's a better angle, but pretty much you just push it in and it clips. You can kind of hear it right there, and it's locked in. So the small one here, and then the 3/8 over here. And there, it clicked in. And there it is. I'm just using this right here to remove it. All right, so I got the front line off. This is the side that goes onto the fuel rail, and it is a 3/8. So it's a push to connect, and the connector right here is still in the truck. This is actually like a 5/16, but it pretty much looks the same. And the bottom piece right here that goes to my Corvette fuel filter is 2 pieces. So it's this black 90°, and then also this push to connect, so they can go into the Corvette fuel filter with that little adapter, so you can adapt it. It also swivels, so if I, twist it around, it can move all 360 degrees. So I'll go ahead and cut it the same from this tip all the way to right here on the new one. This piece right here is just a straight fitting, and then the top one is the push to connect, and you can kind of see the plastic right there, even though it kind of looks like one piece because both of these are blue. But sometimes this piece will be black, or you might just buy all black right there, but this is 2 pieces. And then there's the other 2 piece right here. And then the 90°, you can tell a little bit better because of the black and then the silver. But you can get them all, in the same color if you want. So that's my front line right here, and let me know what you guys think down below in the comments on this setup right here, and I'll go ahead and test it out and make sure I have no leaks, and it should be good to go. On my front line, I did go ahead and snake it from the bottom up because it was harder to do it from the top down since it has that 90°, so it's kind of getting stuck. So I got the hose right here, and I did go ahead and add some painter's tape so that none of this, dirt or grime would get inside the hose. And I'll go ahead and remove this, and I can just clip it in with the push to connect, which is still on over here. That should be good. And I can just clip it in place right here. All right, so I'll just go ahead and zip tie all this right here and make sure they're not in the way. So I went ahead and zip tied all my fuel lines to the tank, and that way they're far away from the drive shaft and they're not gonna get in the way. Here's a better look, and they're just coming down this way through the frame and all the way down to my fuel filter in this area. And I also did add a little bit of loom right here because my exhaust is real close to it. So I just want to make sure it's not going to melt or anything like that. Kind of like the factory ones right here. And the fuel filter I'm using here is by Wix, but I'll have it in the description down below if you want to check it out as well. So let's go ahead and try it out right here. And on this side was the one that was leaking last time. So it looks like the fittings are not leaking, so that's pretty good right there. And down here, they look good as well, so I'll just go ahead and start the truck. All right, so it looks like it's good. It didn't drop any fuel. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the wheels back on. So the Silverado is back and running right there, guys. And as you can see, it's been raining a lot. So I'm just kind of keeping it right now in the garage since I have to put the hood back on. But essentially, it just ended up being those 3 lines that I replaced today. And they ended up being 50 inches. So this line right here was a total of 50 inches from here to the bottom where I put my filter. And then also the 2 back lines, I did them at 50 inches. So hopefully this may help some of you guys out if you have some questions on the fuel setups whenever you're doing the TBSS intake swap or the fuel lines. Because I know that sometimes a lot of people will put the fuel filters back over here and you know it gets real close to the firewall. So I just decided to put mine down here, kind of like from the factory. If you haven't checked out the video on the power folding mirrors, I'll go ahead and link it on top of the screen right here.